In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at some upcoming storminess, as there's going to be a Gulf explosion of moisture and thunderstorms moving from that Gulf Coast inland to the central and eastern United States. We're going to be talking about all that within this video. As you can hear, I am feeling quite a bit better today, which is really good news. I want to tell you guys real quickly about my business, Trilogy Maps, and then we're going to get right into things. Quickly, I want to tell you about my other business that I've launched, trilogymaps.com, where we have the highest definition, most customizable digital maps available on the internet, perfect for creating the best weather forecast. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret here. As of today, if you use the discount code DIRECT in checkout, you will get 33% off your entire order. That's a third of the price. You cannot beat it, so be sure to check it out today in the description and pinned comment down below. All right, now as we can see, there is some coastal energy kind of hanging out here, as we do have a nor'easter. This is moving directly offshore though, so the activity is going to begin to slow down, and it's going to continue in that trend and in that direction of just kind of dying out as it moves further and further out to sea. As we move towards this afternoon, we do see that there is some storms here developing throughout the southwest. This is kind of rising up, and it is trending in a stormier direction here. And this is going to lead towards snowfall still to some of those mountainous regions. Definitely rainfall to a lot of our more lower elevation areas, and then even thunderstorms here across some of your plains. So Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, we're going to be watching closely for you guys. Maybe some severe weather, but definitely thunderstorm activity moving through the area. Now by Friday the 5th here, this area of thunderstorms here is moving up into states like Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois. These areas are going to be dealing with those thunderstorms there by Friday, May 5th. We can also see a pretty major low here over British Columbia there, and then one over here over Colorado, which has been kind of a red flag as of this season. Whenever you see these lows developing in eastern Colorado, that seems to be the building blocks for potent severe weather and just overall impacts afterwards. So we're going to be watching that very closely. Now we do see there is again snowfall in these mountainous regions here of the western United States, as that storminess is kind of prevailing. By the time we reach Saturday though, we can see that this Colorado low actually takes on a pretty different shape than what we've seen recently. This one moves directly northward towards the Dakotas and Minnesota, and it's actually going to continue upwards towards Canada, which is going to really drastically decrease the amount of impacts we can see in the United States. It's basically once this secondary low develops that we do start to get some potential impacts of severe weather and thunderstorms here, especially from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana there. These states here are going to be feeling this by Sunday into Monday. And then by the time we're reaching Monday, Tuesday timeframe, I mean, look at how stormy we're getting for a lot of the southeast and a lot of the areas impacted by this storm as well. And this is mostly due to the fact that we're seeing more and more Gulf moisture really move its way up into these areas. This becomes more common as we head closer to the summertime. So as we reach late May, June, this is going to be a very common occurrence here. And we are very close to that time frame. Tuesday, same thing. I mean, there's isolated and scattered thunderstorms all throughout these areas up the Great Lakes. This is looking very summer-like, and this Gulf explosion has a lot to do with this. We actually get more and more Gulf energy as we move further into the model run. Tuesday the 9th here, look at how much storminess there is across these areas, especially the eastern seaboard here. Thunderstorm activity. So a lot of you that like thunderstorms, this is going to be much more of that activity moving in. And we get quiet for a minute here, Wednesday, Thursday timeframe, that's 10th, 11th. But it's as we reach to Friday, look at this Gulf storm that moves up into Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Again, part of that Gulf explosion. We do see potential for tropical activity. This does look a little bit tropical in nature, but obviously this would not be anything crazy, but definitely could bring a lot of rainfall. Probably as just a tropical cyclone, nothing developed, obviously. It would be very shocking if this became a tropical depression or tropical storm. Not really unheard of, but I do just expect this to be just tropical moisture in general. And it looks like this is going to tandem up with a major storm moving through into this area. So we see this kind of tropical activity. It all comes together in this area. And then now we have this major, massive storm that is barreling towards the eastern United States. So again, a lot of that activity heading eastward once more here on this model. So this activity, look, we're looking towards a very active middle point of this month here in May. Later in the month of May, we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with that. I am curious to see, as I'm sure a lot of you are as well. We will have to stay tuned though, because this is hours 240. This is as far as this model goes. But over the next 2 or so days, we're going to learn a lot more about this upcoming stormy pattern for the middle point of the month. So be sure to stay tuned every single day. As we take a look at this total precipitation, it does tell the full story. We did see a couple storms move in through this portion of the nation, and we look to see that continue. We also see this Gulf moisture moving up. So this is a lot of the storm tracks we're going to be seeing. Also, we see some of this happening. And overall, these areas are just going to be dealing with thunderstorms due to that humidity and temperatures that are approaching more summertime like temperatures and humidity. That is going to be mostly, again, due to that. So we're seeing a lot of precipitation here. The yellow's anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches, red's 2 to 5 inches, and then the brown's even 5 inches plus here, which we see some of that Gulf moisture is bringing that for some of these states like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Illinois. Very high amounts expected for some of these areas. Now, the total snowfall here, as you can see, like I mentioned in the previous videos, I did expect this area to be completely subtracted. So for areas in the kind of Great Lakes area, New England, there's a little bit left over, but hardly any. These areas are finally dying down with that snowfall. And then we see for the west, we're going to continue with the snowfall for the higher elevation areas for quite a while. Anywhere in the grays, a dusting, if anything. Blues, 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purple, 6 to 10. Pinks, 10 to 20 there. And then your pastels, 20 inches plus. Certainly still a whole lot expected out west. Now for our temperature anomalies, as you can see, we're in a colder pattern here in the east, warmer kind of over the central United States. So we have this cold moving in for these areas here, and then warmth in between there. I've gotten a lot of comments about an omega block. It never really becomes a traditional omega block here for that much time. I mean, maybe just a brief moment it's an omega block, a little bit, just something like this, creating this omega looking symbol, but really we just move straight past that and we get warm in the east. So we end up getting much more of just a ridge in the central and eastern states here, and then a trough, pure trough out west. That's just my perception of it though. As we move further with this, there is some cold that enters into the east for another moment here where it does look a little bit more like an omega block. A little bit, again, there's some cold air for the east, but not a whole lot. And then we get the warmth moving back into the east again. So we get this more traditional, little bit of a trough in the west, definitely a big ridge over the east. And then as we continue on with this, it moves us back towards cold in the east, warm in the west. So we're dealing with some pretty traditional patterns here. I don't know why everybody's commenting about omega blocks and all these unusual patterns. Those are mostly just transition. I always mess up with this word, guys. Transition periods. These are just transition periods here for the pattern. We end up either seeing a ridge in the west, trough in the east, or as you can see back here, kind of the opposite. So ridge in the east, trough in the west. This is mostly what we end up with multiple times through the upcoming pattern. We end up closing things out with more of a ridge in the west, trough in the east. And this model has been showing this towards the end of the model run for quite some time now, so we are starting to buy into this a little bit more, but we're gonna have to still wait and see. This is still pretty far out. I want to see when this ends up taking us towards a cold pattern in the east. We start cooling down around the 16th, and that kind of intensifies as we approach the 20th. So we're going to be watching the 8th through the 15th for warmer in the east, and then after the 15th, maybe some time of cooling down up for the 16th through the 20th at least, and we can't even see beyond that, but that is our timeline right now that we're watching. We're going to continue tracking this with you guys every single day, but be sure to check out the trilogy maps, guys, in the description and pinned comment down below. As always, be sure to subscribe as well, as we do upload every single day like I mentioned earlier. Also, you can hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to also like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.